out on the road. We're headed to a town called Minden. It's just south of Carson City, which itself is just south of Reno. And we are picking up a load. This is a load we've done before. They say we did it in August. And it's like radar equipment heading out to Huntsville, Alabama. So that's where we're headed this morning. We actually got this load because the broker called us and asked if we wanted to do it again, and actually we did, so here we are. Woohoo! You know, poor milkman had to do other stuff at home, but believe me, he had plenty. You had plenty to do?
Yeah.
What did you do?
Spent a lot of time mowing, trying to make this place fire safe.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, that's really important. Fire danger is kind of always on our minds, and especially since we're not home. You know, if a fire were to break out and we weren't home, we obviously can't protect our house with, you know, we can't, and we don't, we have a well, but we're off grid, so we don't have constant electricity. Nobody else who came out there would be able to access our water. Like, if the fire department came out and needed our water, they couldn't. Or if a neighbor was like, oh, let me go protect their house, they couldn't. So, so the best thing for us to do is to keep the plant life to a minimum so that if a fire does get started, it doesn't have enough fuel to cause big flames and cause the house to go up. All right, we are all set here. It's always good when you know what you're doing. When we first arrived, there was another truck here, but as soon as we started to get set up to slide our tandems, we always like to slide our tandems here because they've got a really kind of bumpy driveway, and if we don't, then we're worried that we're going to hit our ICC bumper. Just going to the back, checking it out. I mean, it took them like 2 seconds to load this. They're really quick here. That's what it looks like.
So what do you think? I think it's all good because it's all just a giant.
I agree.
Thing.
Yeah. Oh,
it's
you're asking if you need
wood
to
on
strap.
Wood. It's not going anywhere.
I agree. I agree.
Yeah.
Okay, let me take a picture. Noisy forklift behind me. All right, so Milkman's gonna pull out, and then we need to slide these tandems back forward. Because look at them, they're almost all the way back. They really couldn't go back any further because of those chains. But see this? This is our California legal line. Not that we're in California, but it, you know, everything, you turn corners better when your tandems are in front of that line. Here he goes. All right, he's getting around this just fine. Looking good. Somebody's coming. But he pretty much took up the whole road because of those tandems being so far back. All right, that's what we're listening for the trailer brakes to get set. This pin will also not pull out unless the trailer brakes are set. Now we can see that the pins are not lined up, but we're gonna tell him to come back a little more. Boom, there it goes. And there's that one. Now we need to go check the other side. There's that one. And there's that one, so we're all good. All right, we are all set. Ready to head out to Alabama. Last time we took the preferred route, which was down the 95. There were so many near head-on collisions because of it being a 2-lane road that this time we're going across the 80. We checked the weather in Wyoming and it looks like it's okay. So that's the way we're going. It's about 80 miles further. Nobody's paying us for those extra 80 miles. But I mean, it's worth it for our lives, right? All right, time to switch and time to fuel. We're switching and fueling. Hard to get an angle where you get all the action. So our truck's been in this shop, the blue truck has been in this shop for, I think it's over 3 weeks now. It's been a long time. And Milkman was just saying that when we put it in the shop, it still had the summer windshield wiper fluid. So there's 2 different formulas. There's the summer formula and the winter formula. The summer formula is better for getting bugs off the windshield, but the winter formula can, you know, it stays liquid at a much lower temperature. I think these go to -30, whereas the summer formula is like +20 or something. I mean, we get below that all the time. So that's problematic because the tank that holds all of that fluid is full of summer formulas. We didn't expect it to be in the shop this long. Got my Reynolds wrap. Wrapping this up to protect that keyhole. Especially now that it's getting wintry. I mean, it doesn't freaking feel wintry. It's like 80 degrees today. But Milkman was checking out the weather and he said it's starting to cool down, and you know, by next week it looks like it's gonna really, you know, the warm days are over. Still going on this side. I'm ready for it. It's been a long hot summer. Can't forget my Lucas. I got 110 gallons. 1 cup for 25 gallons. So we're putting 4.5 cups in. All right, here I am, getting going. Yay! All right, here we go, yo.
Hey, yo-yos.
My phone is having trouble. My app is struggling to connect with the device that's hooked into our truck's computer. I tried to connect to this truck's computer, and it's just sitting there trying to connect. So in the meantime, I put myself on duty for my pre-trip, and now it's just gonna leave me on duty until it can finally connect to this computer. This could potentially give me a problem if I got pulled in for an inspection before it finally connected. But at that point, I could go on to paper logs if I needed to. I've never seen it actually do that. It almost always connects within an hour or two, and then it remembers all the driving that's been done and when it started, when it stopped. and it assigns it to me. When e-logs first came out, the only big company that we knew that used them was Werner. You know, Werner had them when I was just a babe in the trucking world. But we didn't start using them until about 2017, right? Or 2018, when it was finally required by law. You know, that's not true. When I finished my master's program and I went out and Milkman and I went back out on the road, we didn't have a truck that we could legally drive. And so we had to be company drivers. That was the first time that we ever actually used an e-log, and it was through a Qualcomm. The Qualcomm was something that they had had for years, but they only used it for communication. So when I first got my CDL, Milkman and I purchased a truck, and then we leased on to CRST, which is one of the mega carriers. We used a Qualcomm back then, but that was just for messaging back and forth. They had, you know, the messaging, it's very much just like texting. So we were used to the Qualcomm. But then, you know, I went back to school and Milkman got a local job. And then when we came out, we needed actual company jobs because we didn't have a truck anymore. And so we went back to CRST, and whew, that was quite the eye-opener. Now that we were in one of their trucks, and now it was this was now 2012, they now had all of their e-logs going through the Qualcomm as well. So that it's a little bit of a learning curve, because often when you're on paper logs and that's all you've ever done, you stop to get fuel and you maybe make a mental note of the time, but you don't do anything. You go out, you fuel, you do all your stuff, and then you get back in your truck and you put yourself on duty for fueling or whatever it is that you did. Or even worse than that, if you stop for a rest area break and you stop, well, that's not on duty. That's you know, that's you taking a little break. And if all of the e-logs, if you're driving and then after a few minutes that the e-log has noticed that you're not actually driving anymore, it will automatically put you on duty. And I think with CRST, if we were on duty for like an hour when we were actually, you know, stopped eating lunch or whatever, you couldn't change that yourself back then. You had to have them change it for you, which was a real pain in the butt. You know, nowadays, of course, we can fix our own logs, but yeah, it was definitely a little bit of a learning curve to remember that every time you stopped, you had to do something to your e-log instantly, because otherwise it was going to put you on duty and you were going to eat up a bunch of hours. All right, washing the windows. Folks, we have a SNAFU. When I started driving, I think I even mentioned this, my phone wasn't connecting to the device that's hooked up to the truck's computer. I really wasn't too concerned. I mentioned it to Milkman that I wasn't connecting. He said he checked his tablet and that he wasn't in the truck. So when we get started driving, we have to put ourselves as if we always say, put yourself in the truck, or I'm in the truck. And that means I'm in the driver's seat of the truck according to the telephone, according to the app. So what that means is when there are team drivers, right, we're both in the truck, but only one of us is driving. So if that truck starts moving, the whole system needs to know which one of you is actually making this truck move. And so that's what it means to be in the truck. And so when my app wasn't connecting to the truck's computer right away, I wasn't too concerned. Sometimes it does take a while, and I just wanted to get going. I wouldn't have done it without making sure that Milkman was out of the truck, but he said he checked, he said he looked, and it looked like he was out of the truck. So I just figured eventually they would connect up. This has happened to me before, that it finally connects up in the, couple hours later. And who knows why this happens. It's all working on Bluetooth. So I got to my fuel stop where I wanted to wash the windows, and I'm looking at my app. I need to put myself off duty, and it says, it's got the message that I haven't seen yet because I've been driving this whole time, that says somebody else is in your truck. Well, who else is logged into it? There's only one other person who can be logged in, and that's Milkman. And so I was like, what the heck? You're in the truck. So yeah, he basically, I drove for like 4 hours. According to the app, it thinks that he was driving this whole time because he was in the truck. Luckily, Milkman didn't actually get a violation. Normally, me driving 4 hours on his shift would cause a violation. But because he didn't get started until like 5, almost 6 o'clock this morning, right?
Right.
He didn't get started until 6 o'clock this morning, and then we got somewhere and we picked up a load. So that took us some time, and then we stopped and we fueled and all that stuff. That took a bunch of time out of the driving time, so he didn't get a violation. So I'm gonna get going. I'm gonna stop somewhere around midnight, and then Milkman can't get started until 3 o'clock in the morning now, because the logs think that he drove until 5 p.m. So it got to be around 10:30, and I stopped at a rest area. It wasn't really a rest area. It was just a parking area. It was right around Fort Bridger. I can't exactly remember exactly where I stopped. And I was really feeling super tired. And I was like, well, no, I got to push through until midnight. And then I thought, well, is it worth trying to drive when I'm super, super tired? And so I was like, it's okay that I'm tired. We're not in a rush. We're going to make it just fine. And so I might as well just, I was in a super safe area. So I was like, I'm going to take this opportunity to just go to sleep. So Milkman was not, he didn't wake up when I when I went to sleep. I thought, why am I even gonna talk to him, right? So I just let him sleep, and he just woke up and just got going. And well, he woke up a while ago. He woke up maybe an hour after he normally does, and but then he had to wait around. So what did you do while you were waiting around?
Just sat around and pulled the putty.
He sat around and pulled a putty. That's a Seinfeld reference. So anyway, we're back on the road now. He's driving. I'm going back to sleep. We're on our way to Huntsville. We're gonna make it there sometime in the morning on Sunday, and then we can't deliver until Monday. So I think we're still doing very well. I think this is the way kind of I like it, that there's not a lot of pressure to keep driving even if I'm tired. A lot of times the pressure is I can't find a place to park, but a lot of times the pressure is also that we really got to keep going constantly until we get there. We can't really stop because we got to drive straight through, and that's always kind of stressful. So anyway, it was a pretty mellow day, just driving pretty much all the way across Nevada and Utah, and then a little bit into Wyoming. But yeah, good day. Good. Always good to be back on the road and working and making money. So, all right. Well, thanks for coming along. We will catch you next time.